Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter, and I just finished taping an episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, or Tyler and Mike. They're brilliant hosts. You've got to listen. You've got to see. Count It Out. Yeah, I endorse it. They've got the After Chat seal of approval.
This is Wildcat Chris Harris, one half of America's Most Wanted. You're listening to Count It Out with Tyler and Mike.
Keep your hands to yourself to the point, cause you know I won't be listening long. Pick a road, cause you know I like to travel alone.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Apter Seal of Approve, Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. And you know what, Mike, before I introduce you, like I always do, and say my name is Tyler, and as always, I'm joined by Mojito Mike, and ask how you're doing. Yeah, and I'm going to ask how you're doing. I don't think that we're just sealed of approved by Bill Apter right now. I just want to give you and I a little pat on the back. After our wonderful interview with Brian Pillman, we got sealed of approved everywhere. Big thank you to every media outlet that picked us up.
Absolutely.
Very, very much appreciate
Starting
that.
with, and I'm going to give a special shout out to the guys who started the ball rolling, our good friends at Post Wrestling. It's really cool to have the first people picking us up be a local Toronto outlet and people that we really respect in guys like John Pollock and Wei Ting. So
yeah, and Andrew Thompson is also.
And Andrew Thompson. It was really cool. Don't get me wrong; it's very cool to get picked up by fucking 411 and Wrestle Talk and Wrestle Zone and all that.
What culture, all that. Yeah.
And what culture? It's very cool to be picked up by all that. But I have a very special place in my heart for the Post boys.
I've gone on record. I've gone on record many times, and I think that Post Wrestling is, and John Pollock, especially John Pollock, is the most credible source to get your news anywhere. And Andrew Thompson, the way that he covers interviews and the transcripts that he puts out, tip of the cap to those guys. If you're looking for the best coverage on not only just interviews but podcasts, like Andrew Thompson has everything covered. John Pollock is the most reliable newsman in the business. So Post Wrestling, big shout out there. Let's keep on the big shout outs real quick. Do the little bit of house cleaning here. This weekend, I will be at Kempenfest in Barrie, Ontario for Barrie Wrestling. I am very excited for this weekend. From a personal standpoint, I'm finally doing something I don't do very often. I'm taking some time off work. I'm going to be, as soon as we're done recording, I am packing.
You took from 2020 to 2022 off.
Well,
okay?
I mean, I still worked.
You're using that word really loosely.
When we're done recording, we're recording this on a Monday evening. I am heading up to a cottage, which I don't ever do tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. Going to do a little R&R, and then I'm taking 5 days off. I'm going to do some Barrie wrestling. I'm going to do a Tragically Hip cover band, spend some time with the family. So this is the start of a great week for me, and there's no better way I'd rather start it off than by recording with you. It's been a while since we've done this. You're back full time.
Yeah, man. Last week's show, truth be told, was recorded quite a few weeks ago. The show before that was when it was, but it wasn't a show like this. It wasn't a list. So it was that amazing show with us and Brian Pillman. Also shout out to young Jay Lee for coming on last week. Thank you so much for that. It's always great to have Jay Lee on the show. But it's been a while. People don't realize how, because we did things, we canned a couple things before I went on hiatus. It's been a long time since I did a list.
We've recorded one show since Canada Day.
Yeah.
And before that was before you had your kids. So it's been a minute. I'm excited for it.
I haven't done lists the last time I did a list was when I pre-recorded our commentary list.
Mm-hmm.
And that was way back in, I think, April.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
cool,
also,
I'm looking forward to this.
Also, it's great to have you back. I've missed doing this, but I know you're listening right now, Steve Bourne. I have not forgotten about you. You are still coming on to do your list. It's just these random interviews have popped up, and but I haven't forgot about you, buddy. I love you, and thank you for your patience.
Drop a bomb here. I'm gonna drop a bomb here. I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna drop a bomb. We do have a couple people clamoring to come on the show to help us do some lists. I always love it when people want to do lists. That's cool for us. Takes the stress off us, and it's cool to see other people's opinion. Steve Warren being one. It's gonna be cool to have Steve Warren come on and do a list. I think this will be his third or fourth list.
Yeah.
So that's now. Cool. But then another guy who wants to come on to a list is a good friend of the show, local wrestler Van Landen.
Rev it up for the barn burner, baby. I'm
not telling you what he wants to do. I'm going to wait for that, but it's going to be a fucking amazing list. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. And while we're talking about our good friend, Mr. Van Landen, I want to give a shout out to our good friend, Jonah. Over at the recap, rewind, relive. Jonah, I'm sorry. That was the worst.
So mad at you right now.
That was the worst I've ever said it. And that's kind of what I do. But rewind, recap, relive. I think I said it wrong again. Either way, the guy with the bow tie, Jonah, he's got Van Landen on his show. I believe it's airing this week. I believe maybe Thursday or Friday it's coming out.
And who's he with, baby?
Pat yourself on the back. It's Barry Horowitz.
I can't wait for this.
I've heard Jonah has given me rave reviews about this show, so I'm excited for it. So head over there, find Jonah.
It makes me so happy to know that Jonah loved Van Landen as much as we do. It's always a treat running at the Barry Wrestling shows. Van's very quickly become not just a favorite wrestler of mine on the local scene, but just one of my favorite people we've met since we started doing these circuits. You know what I mean? Yeah, we've met a lot of really cool people, some that we connected with and some we didn't, but even the ones that we didn't are still amazing to us. But there's a few like young Jay Lee who we've really connected with, Big Ben Ortmans, and now Van Landen
and Clay Wilson. He's just misunderstood.
And of course, the misunderstood Clay Wilson. These guys have really taken a liking to us, which we love. So thank you guys.
It makes me think there might be something wrong with those guys if they like us, but that's all I'm putting you over, Van Landen. You got heat with us. I'm just kidding. We love you, Van. Before I talk about the show this week, just head over to our YouTube page right now where you will see the latest Barry Wrestling Event Center that I've done. Great promos from some great guys and some fun stuff. Now let's talk about the show this week, and then we're going to talk about Vince McMahon.
SummerSlam.
Yes, you're in my doghouse right now because up until an hour and a half ago, I thought we were doing the top 7 Intercontinental title matches of all time at SummerSlam. Now we are doing the top 7 builds to SummerSlam matches. So I have absolutely zero preparation this week. I literally have, and you watched me do my show prep this week while we were talking before on air. I have 45 seconds of prep work. I made it to SummerSlam 2002. So anything over that, we're just winging it, baby. Yeah. But put me on the spot. I love it.
Listen, I'm going to explain to everybody why I had to change my list so much. I was prepared. I did weeks of preparation for this list. I was doing.
You did the three different lists that you've been prepping for.
I was doing. My original list was going to be the best SummerSlam matches from 2000 from 1988 to 1997. A 10-year span of matches. And I watched matches, man. Like I watched so many matches and I'm doing a great list. Here's the problem. 6 of my 7 matches on my best of matches of these years included one Bret the Hitman Hart. 6 of the 7. Why is that a problem, you ask? Because if you hit the archives on www.countingout7.com, you will see that we did the best Bret Hart SummerSlam matches last year.
That was by far the drunkest that I have ever been on Counted Out, to the point where that was our SummerSlam live show, the last one that we did. And I got Rory Fox on, redid my list with him, and remember nothing about it. So love you, Rory Fox. But while you're on the topic of Bret Hart, this is a perfect segue for me to tell you about next week's show. And I haven't told you this yet, but next week we're going to do something a little bit fun. And it was inspired by a conversation that we had about a week ago. Next week, I am going to count down the top 7 Seth Rollins SummerSlam matches.
Okay.
Now, you have just rewatched all of Bret Hart's SummerSlam matches.
I know where you're going with this, and I think we're going to throw down here.
We're going to have a conversation next week.
And so we're saving this for next week.
We're going to do this next week. We're going to do this next week.
I thought we were going to do this tonight. I was ready to throw down
because I need to rewatch all the matches.
Because I even told the WrestleMedia boys, I'm like, listen, because I told them my conundrum with the Bret Hart thing, and they're like, yeah, and all of them agreed, thinking, well, you just proved that Bret Hart is Mr. SummerSlam. And I said, yeah, well, try telling Tyler that. And they were all so surprised because they know you're a Bret Hart fan.
Big time.
I mean, most of them listen to the show. They know you're a Bret Hart fan. And they were so surprised that I said, and then my buddy Jeff says, well, who does he think is Mr. SummerSlam? And I said, Seth Rollins. And holy fuck, if you could groan through text, my friends groaned through text right there. And I have to agree with them, man. I just went back and I watched all of Bret's matches in SummerSlam. Bret Hart, in no doubt in my mind, and by a very large margin, is the greatest performer in the history of SummerSlam. And I don't think there's anything you're going to be able to say next week that's going to change my mind on that.
So here's what we're going to do. You're going to make your own little Bret Hart list as well with your top 7 Bret matches. I'm going to do top 7 Seth matches.
Okay.
We're going to discuss them. You know what? I'm not 100% sold on if Seth is Mr. SummerSlam or if it's Bret.
Okay.
But I don't think that your wide margin comment is as accurate as you think it is.
Sure.
Because Seth Rollins has got some incredible
that's your job
matches.
next week, I guess, then.
It's going to be a fun debate. I wanted to take up much of the show. I want to kind of go match by match. We'll talk about their matches. I don't know. Maybe we do a list. Maybe we don't do a list. Maybe we do a whole debate show. I don't know. We'll play around. We'll play around with it. But next week we're going to talk about, and you know what? And people that are listening to this, if you think that there's another Mr. SummerSlam, leave a comment. Let me know who you think it is.
You know what,
we'll talk about him.
I've been seeing votes online for a guy named Brock Lesnar.
Let's take a look at Brock too. Maybe we'll bring in maybe we'll talk to Brock Lesnar superfan Jonah and see if he wants to jump in on the debate as well. You know what I mean? At the very least, he probably has the best theme music in the history of SummerSlam. Good old number 7, baby. Good old number 7. But next week we're gonna make a decision who's gonna be Mr. SummerSlam. And maybe we'll do it for every Big 4 pay-per-view. I think that's kind of fun.
I like that. I really like that. All right. Before we get into today's big news topic,
tell the people your list this week, by the way.
You just did. I thought you did.
Anyways,
yeah,
builds for SummerSlam matches.
Yeah, builds for SummerSlam. I'm doing my top 7 favorites or best SummerSlam or storylines going into SummerSlam.
Your personal favorites, right?
Well, that's definitely, I took the 7 that I think are the best. The way I organized them, the way I ordered them are by personal favorite.
Okay.
I'll be honest about that. Before we get into what we want to talk about before the list, one last piece of housekeeping. Tyler, you mentioned where you're going, being Camping Fest, but you didn't mention where you've been. Did you talk to anybody special this week, brother?
Did I talk to anybody special?
Yeah. Come on, baby.
Oh, yeah. I got to sit down with the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Unfortunately, I couldn't get an interview with him because everything's got to go through WWE.
He's on a WWE Legends contract, so that makes sense to me. It's fine.
But I posted the pictures on our Instagram. Check it out there. Jimmy Hart was so nice. You know, he was at a candy store, a small candy store. It was a small appearance. So there wasn't a ton of people there. It was a good house for like what the venue was. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy drew some people in, but it was a small place that wasn't well advertised. So I asked Jimmy, you know, when he signed an autograph, which we are going to be giving away on the show. So stay tuned for that information when I figure out what I want to do with it. And I said, hey, Jimmy, can I ask you just a couple questions off the record? No recorded, no nothing. He said, yeah, baby, why don't you take a seat? And I got to sit down and talk with Jimmy Hart for about 25 to 30 minutes. And it was awesome. He told me stories about Memphis, hanging out with Andy Kaufman at Elvis Presley's house, the heat that he would get in Memphis, comparing Memphis's crowds to Madison Square Garden's crowds. Talked about Ric Flair's last match. We talked about Bret Hart. Talked about Jacques Rougeau, on and on and on and on. I could have sat there for hours listening to Jimmy, so it was really cool for me.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I was at work while you were doing that. You just decided to go. Like you didn't know what was going to happen. I knew you were gonna ask him for an interview. You were gonna ask him for a sound plug. He could have said yes. He could have said no. We didn't know what was going to go on. You even told me, worst case scenario, I'm going to buy some candy and fuck off. And you know, while we didn't get any official stuff for the show, I think it's so cool. No, it's cool that you got to sit down and talk to Jimmy Hart. Consider he's one of my personal top 5 favorite managers in history, but it's cool that he sat down with you.
Yeah, he invited me to sit down.
Like does that amazing. Not show like that shows who Jimmy Hart is?
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean? That shows who he is as a human being.
He was such a class act, and I stole your line actually, Mike. I said this to him word for word because this is how I truly feel about Jimmy Hart. When we had Bill Apter on the show, and I name dropped Bill, of course, because Jimmy and Bill are close, right?
Well, that we do it every single week, so
and
why
yeah,
not
we kind of do. That's kind of our gimmick around here. But I said, you know, we had Bill Apter. We were lucky enough to have Bill Apter on the show. Oh, I love Bill, baby. He's such a great guy. And I said, my co-host Mike, he said something about Bill that it's how I relate and it's how I feel about you, Jimmy. I said, everybody wants to grow up and wanted to be Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. And I wanted to be you, Jimmy Hart, because I was a skinny, loudmouth guy who always wanted to hide behind the big boys. I said, you were my hero growing up, Jimmy Hart. And he was really touched by that. And I just had a great time talking to Jimmy Hart.
I love, if you haven't seen the pictures, go to our Facebook page. I think it's Facebook or Instagram. It's somewhere.
It's on Instagram for sure.
Yeah. There's a great picture that I personally love of you with the microphone in his ear.
Yeah,
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, Jimmy called that spot.
I love the shirt that he's wearing. He's wearing a Hart Foundation T-shirt, which is awesome. Loved it. It was a great time. You look like you had a great time, I should say.
Yeah, what was great with Jimmy too is because, you know, when I was sitting there, like people would come up and get autographs. He'd be in the middle of a story. And then like he would stop, sign the autograph, always give the fans the proper time. He was so good with them. And then he would turn to me and go, or before the fan would come up, he would go, just wait right here. I'm really enjoying this. I want to keep talking. And then we would talk longer. And then, you know, he would pick right up where he left off. Or if I thought maybe he was done telling the story, so I would ask another question. He'd be like, hold on, I have something else I want to tell you about that one. Like, yeah, Jimmy Hart, man. I wish I could get I'm going to try my best. I'm going to go through the WWE. Everybody write letters, help us get Jimmy Hart on the show.
100%. We're going to work on that. 1,000%. You got a contact name, which we're going to reach out to because Jimmy flat out said he wants to do the show. It's just a matter of him being allowed to do the show.
Yeah.
So we're going to work on that. No promises, but we're going to work on that. I mean, and Jimmy wasn't alone, man. Jimmy, I should say Tyler wasn't alone. Jimmy had other fans there. I know for a fact, friend of the show, Nova, was at the store that day.
I wasn't at that appearance. That was a different appearance.
Oh, was that a different appearance?
Yeah, that was up here in Barrie. Jimmy went from Woodbridge to Barrie, and then to a second appearance in Barrie, actually.
I got you. And then I was almost a friend of the show, not yet friend of the show, hopefully future friend of the show. Rob Fuego was there. You got to talk to Rob a bit. Yeah,
I got to talk to him about old school wrestling. He trained with Edge and Christian.
I have a lot of respect for Rob. I don't know Rob at all, so I'm not even pretending I do. I have respect for his training, the people that he's trained. The list is so fucking long, and anybody who got trained by Siki is good in my book.
Yeah.
Anyways,
1,000%. And while we're talking about him, I just want to pull up the Demand Lucha is the promotion that he is working with, and they're bringing in Effie and Ali Catch for their show on August the 18th. It's a Thursday night, 7 p.m. in Toronto. If you're in the area,
that is a GCW fan's wet dream right here, baby.
Yeah, you know, maybe we'll get down there and check it out.
I'm giving a lot of thought. All right. Well, we took a lot longer with the housekeeping than I expected, so we're not going to go too crazy on this part because there's nothing we can say that hasn't been said online already. We're just going to give some opinions and a couple thoughts, but let's just smash the news out. Everybody knows by now. Nobody doesn't know this. This week, what was it? Friday, I guess it was. Vince McMahon announced his retirement.
Yep.
Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Everybody knows it anyways. Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the man who I thought would only retire after he died and you had to burn his bones and do some voodoo ritual on them for him to actually be gone. The man who said he would never retire has retired. I don't want to get into the reasons, the speculation of reasons why he may have retired. I don't give a fuck. Unless you really want to get into it.
I mean, I don't think we should just ignore it. I don't want to talk about it in great detail, but let's talk about Vince's legacy first. Let's talk about
that's what I care more about. I mean,
but I don't want to be like, oh, Vince is I don't want to judge Vince from a personal standpoint.
We don't know for 1,000%. Can we speculate? And is it probably a fact that he was forced to retire because of the scandals? Yes. Do we know that? And is that fact? No.
Well,
so
I
don't want to focus on that.
This is what I was going to say about it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, Vince is bad. Vince is I don't care about what Vince McMahon's like as a human being because I don't know him. And I'll never know him.
Exactly.
I do, however, think that Vince is going to end up in a lot of shit. You're seeing stuff like come out today where he took $14 million of corporate money to use as hush money. Like, I think that we all know how this whole thing works, right? Mm-hmm. And it happens for a reason. I'm not saying this to defend Vince McMahon because I think Vince McMahon's probably done a lot of really shitty things for this to come out, but it's a snowball effect now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're going to start hearing people come out of the woodworks. I think you're going to start hearing some really bad stories
because it happens with everything. Like, and I'm not making light of any of these other things, but look at the Me Too movement. It started with one person talking about Harvey Weinstein, and then it just snowballed to like this whole thing of people coming out saying, "Holy shit." Hence the title, Me Too. You know what I mean? And then the similar movement a couple of years ago, they got a lot of professional wrestlers in trouble. It's not always about sexual.
The professional wrestlers got themselves in trouble.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, that
I know that's what you mean. Like,
yes, that is what. No. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me because that is what I meant. But it is. There's always a snowball effect when something as pivotal as this happens. It's never just that one thing, and you know it's going to affect more people. We have not heard the last of this. Things are going to happen.
Like the thing with Vince, though, like it's not really been a secret. Like there's always been allegations against it.
Going all the way back to Rita Chatterley and
but now I think people are actually going to pay attention to them.
100%. 100%. And unfortunately, you know why? Because there's fucking money involved.
Well, and because I think Vince has probably done a lot of shitty things. Like I think that's
but he's been doing shitty things for 40 fucking years.
Yeah, and he got away with it for a long time. And
40 fucking years.
It's about to, I think, kick him right in the ass. And it's really too bad because, you know, let's take Vince McMahon, the human being, out of the equation, and let's talk about, you know, it's like I think it's going to be like the Chris Benoit effect. Obviously, not as extreme because he's murdered, but you know, I think that people are going to have to look at Vince McMahon and separate personal and professional. And from a professional standpoint,
100%. Like I said, and I've said this, I'm glad you brought up Chris Benoit because I've said the same thing about Chris Benoit. I don't give a fuck. It's not that I don't give a fuck what he did. What he did was horrible. But I don't know Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit wasn't my friend. You know who Chris Benoit was to me? Chris Benoit was the guy that I watched on TV every fucking Monday night. Chris Benoit is one of my favorite professional wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
And you have to separate that or else it's going to drive you fucking nuts.
But you have to separate it to an extent.
It's the same with music. It's the same with TV. It's the same. Do you think every actor that you like hasn't done a fucking shitty thing in their life? Every
100%.
musician you like hasn't done a shitty thing in their life? You know what I mean? Does that mean you have to stop liking those bands? You have to not watch one of those movies? No, you just need to.
I can still sit back and I can appreciate a Chris Benoit match because, you know, and Chris Benoit was my favorite wrestler for a long time. But I will never ever stick up for Chris Benoit. I will never defend Chris Benoit because he did
two separate things.
He did the most heinous thing on the planet. Doesn't mean I can't sit back and watch a Chris Benoit match. But I'll never make a case. I'll never make a case for him to go to the Hall of Fame. I'll never think that he should be glorified. But I will still sit back and be like, holy fuck, this guy was a hell of a hand. And
it's sort of the same thing with Vince McMahon. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey man, I know he did horrible things, but there's no but. Vince McMahon, the man, has nothing to do with the show, has nothing to do with me. Vince McMahon, the CEO and creator and creative genius, is the man that is responsible for this show. We wouldn't be sitting here right now together if the WWF didn't exist.
It's true.
And the WWF wouldn't exist, especially not the way that we know it and the way that we have known it for the last 40 years of our lives without Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I think that if
we owe him our fandom, and I truly believe that.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And I think that if Vince didn't take over from his dad, I don't think that we're talking about the WWF at all today. I think they fold.
I don't think we're talking professional wrestling.
I think that World Class would have taken over because they were getting ready to kind of make that jump too.
But then also folded. I don't think anybody was going to do what Vince McMahon did. Nobody had the balls to do what Vince McMahon did. World Class, I don't think would have done the territory grab the way that Vince did.
It's not only the balls, though, Mike. It's the vision. He's Walt Disney, man.
100%.
Vince McMahon.
What a great analogy! I like
Vince
that.
McMahon is doing things that nobody was thinking about. You know, he's doing, and even now, like looking at the WWE network, Vince was talking about doing this network in like the early 2000s, man.
Yep.
Like, and now,
do you remember WWE 24/7?
Right?
Yeah,
I do remember WWE 24/7. Like the pioneer that he is, and the visions that he has, and it's just like, look at WrestleMania, pay-per-view. Vince McMahon made pay-per-view. You know what I mean? You know, without Vince McMahon succeeding on pay-per-view, you're not getting the UFC. You're not getting boxing. You're not getting I don't know about boxing, maybe, but
no.
WWF
we can give the NWA a little bit of credit there.
Absolutely not.
Because of Star. No,
because
Starrcade. You can't give Starrcade.
No, it flopped. Vince blocked them.
Yeah. Well, but it's not like they didn't have the means and idea to do it, is what I'm saying.
It was the success of WrestleMania 3 that really propelled the pay-per-view. And Vince said to all the companies, if you pick up Starrcade, you can't carry WrestleMania 4.
Yeah.
See you, Starrcade. like 90% of the networks did not pick up Starrcade. They did terrible.
I guess I mean it in a way where you can credit NWA for pay-per-view the same way you can credit ECW for the Attitude Era.
I disagree with that.
Does that make sense?
I think
and I'm not crediting ECW for the Attitude Era.
I do. I 1,000% credit ECW.
I'm saying that Vince McMahon was inspired by ECW in the same way I think he was inspired by the NWA and their move to pay-per-view.
But Vince did it first, I think.
Okay,
because it was
disagree on that.
It was closed circuit.
Yeah,
closed circuit was different than pay-per-view, right? I'm pretty sure that
I thought Vince was doing closed circuit, and Starrcade was the first pay-per-view.
I think the first wrestling pay-per-view of all time was the Wrestling Classic.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'll give you this one. You're usually right on this shit.
I'm going to say we're about 50-50. We each got a shot on this one. But I will disagree with you strongly on the Attitude Era point. I do not think there is an Attitude Era without ECW. I do think that Vince McMahon blatantly ripped off ECW, saw what they were doing, and corporized it and made it amazing. Like
100%.
Yeah. But I do think that was like, hey, here's Flash Funk. You can have Flash Funk and Al Snow, and we're gonna take the Attitude. And here's like your $200,000 a month that we give you or whatever it is. Like, yeah, absolutely.
Did you know? And I was learning this today that originally, and I'm glad they didn't go this route because I like the route they went. But originally, he being Paul Heyman was the first person in '97 in talks to be color commentator for Shotgun Saturday Night.
I did know that, actually. I did know that.
And I'm glad they didn't go that way because Pillman, I can't see that show without Pillman.
And like
You know?
Shotgun ended up kind of being shit. So
The first few episodes were amazing.
They
when
were
doing like before they moved to arenas and they were doing like
the clubs.
the clubs and the subway stations and shit like that.
They looked
awesome.
They looked really cool, but it was still like WWE hokey. You know what I mean? Like it was still like it was still very cheesy because
I liked it.
I like it too. If you go back and watch it, the best one is when Terry Funk came on in Texas in that bar and him and Austin went nuts.
Your mom's a whore.
That Funk name, something about that Funk name I really like.
No, me too. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
Let's get to Vince McMahon here before we get to our list. We're rambling tonight. We haven't done this in a while, have we?
No, it's good. Let's get it out.
Let's talk about the WWE moving forward. So let's break this down. Triple H is now the head of creative, and is now, which surprised a lot of people. A lot of people thought it would be Pritchard. Pritchard is working under Triple H, which I think is a phenomenal move. And that's not a slight on Pritchard. I just think it's the best move for the company.
You think think Pritchard's going to be around for long?
I think so. I think Pritchard has a lot to give. I just don't like Pritchard in a lead role.
No, neither do I.
I think Pritchard is a great yes man. I think Pritchard is a good person to have in your ear, but I don't like Pritchard being the guy. Triple H is the guy. So I think that's going to work. And I do think Pritchard's going to be there for a while.
Before I comment on Triple H, I want to make a point before that, and then let me ramble on about Triple H here. I think that the biggest thing that is going to be a plus for the WWE is the loss of Kevin Dunn. I think that
hasn't been made official yet, but
I thought it was official.
Not to my knowledge. I have not seen it officially because he was on SmackDown. And as far as I know, he did Raw tonight.
I thought I was under the impression he was done with the company, but
I mean, he should have been done company fucking weeks ago when they caught him with insider trading. But I mean, that's a different fucking story.
His time is ticking. That was Vince's guy. He'll be gone. I think that a fresh
it's not a secret that both Stephanie and Triple H can't stand the man. He's been with the company forever because of his father. His father, Vince, made a deal with his dad that Kevin has a fucking job for life, and he had it. Well, Vince is out now. Kevin's got to go. Kevin, we've said this on the show 1,000 times. One of the few reasons I cannot watch WWE television is the goddamn production. The quick cuts, I feel nauseous.
I feel sick watching it. I don't not watch WWE because I hate them. I don't watch them for two reasons, and I'll watch them if I'm around. If I'm available to watch it, I'll watch it. I'm always at work when we're on SmackDown or on. I work Saturdays for pay-per-views.
Visually, I
can't sit through. I watched Crown Jewel last year with the Hell in a Cell match, and I really enjoyed the show. And I thought I was going to throw up halfway through it.
They had great pay-per-views in 2021. I really do. I think that they had great pay-per-views in 2021. If you can get through the pay-per-views, I couldn't watch a pay-per-view in a night because I would get motion sickness. It would take days to watch it.
Yeah, and as far as Triple H goes, to go back to your question, it's proven that he, you look at the NXT roster, the brand that he did there, and that was the highlight of the WWE for the last probably 10 years. Yeah, right. Clearly he knows what he's doing. He's been a student of the game his whole life. Do I think that we're going to see a big change right away, though? No.
Absolutely not.
I think that they're going to slowly, because you can't just shock your audience. It's got to be gradual.
Like no, thank you for that. People are so I already seen people.
When's Gargano coming back?
Exactly. I already see people coming out going, because they announced tonight apparently that one of the matches for SummerSlam was the Mysterios versus Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And everybody says, "Oh, I thought Vince left." What did you expect?
Yeah,
did you expect them to wipe out every storyline that Vince was already working on and be like, okay, so SummerSlam's going to be Adam Cole coming back and he's going to fight everybody?
Yeah.
It's not that. It's not what it is. things have to happen gradually. There will be changes. And you know what? Some of those changes might take 4 or 5 years to fucking see happen. You know, it's like this is off topic, but this is like everybody fucking jacking off over the TV14 thing. Do people really think that the day they go TV14, it's going to be the Attitude Era?
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think? Miss Kitty's going to come out and flash her boobs on page?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, do you think Alexa Bliss is coming out on TV and we're going to see her fucking twat? No, that's not going to fucking happen. Things happen gradually, slowly in time. The Attitude Era didn't happen overnight. It's everybody says, oh, Attitude Era was in 98. No, guess what? You go back to 1996 and you start seeing the seeds in early 1996.
It's like everyone says about Austin. Oh, Austin 3, he cut that King of the Ring promo and he took off. No, he didn't. He cut the King of the Ring promo and then fought Mark Marrow on a pay-per-view and then was on the dark match in SummerSlam against Yokozuna in a minute and a half.
Don't happen overnight, and that counts with what's going on right now.
I will say, though,
this
I am
new
excited.
Regime, yes, me too.
I am excited.
Me too. I think in time, WWE might become a promotion that I love again. Because I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and bash WWE because I can't, because WWE is the reason I'm a wrestling fan. So I'm not gonna bash it. Do I love it the way I used to? Absolutely not.
I do think that as far as timing wise goes, I think it is a good thing that Vince is stepping down. I think it's time. I think he doesn't have his finger on the pulse anymore. I think we're seeing a lot of repetitiveness on Raw over and over again, which has been a gripe of mine. And I do think it's time to freshen things up. So I'm interested to see who's going to start getting pushed, who's going to keep getting pushed. I thought Roman Reigns had the line of the year to Austin Theory. He's saying, Daddy, your daddy ain't here no more. I thought that was so good.
Do you think that was a double shot?
No, I think
I might be thinking too much into it, okay? But I feel like it could have been a shot at the Vince thing, but then maybe a shot at Christian and AEW.
No, I think it was.
I know I'm overthinking it.
I think it was just a way to acknowledge that Theory, who has been paired with Vince McMahon on TV for the last year.
Christian's been shooting at people's dead dads every week, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that might be a bit of a stretch. We should have asked Brian Pillman that. We had him on the phone on the show last week, but I just think that was a way to be like, Theory was so hand in hand with Vince for so long. I think that's the way to say, to separate that now, right?
Before we move to the list, I want to go through a small list of things that I would personally like to see with this new regime, and all things that are in possibility. I'm not going crazy here. Things that I think that Triple H, Stephanie McMahon might actually do. Notice I kept Tony Khan's name out of it because I think Tony Khan's only there because he's Vince's yes man.
Tony, So every time you say Tony Khan,
I'm sorry. I meant Nick Khan. Nick Khan.
Whatever.
Sorry, Khan.
Awesome
Nick Khan. Yeah, Nick Khan, who is the co-CEO with Stephanie. Vince McMahon's biggest stooge. Vince McMahon's biggest stooge since Gerald Briscoe.
Or do you think that guy played Vince and puppeteered his way to the top?
You never know. But I have a feeling that Vince, as the number one shareholder in the company, the majority shareholder in the company, kept his man in because he knows his man will do his bidding more than his own daughter will, because his own daughter is too much like him. You know what I mean?
There's a great story that Jerry Jarrett told.
And he went, I read that today. You talking about the one of
they're at dinner?
They're at dinner, and he says, one day you're going to have this company, Shane. That one?
Yeah, and Stephanie goes, Daddy's girl's going to be taking it over.
I love that story. Yeah.
When people shit on Stephanie, and I think a lot of people shit on Stephanie because of how good of a heel she is, because she's a great heel.
100%.
And I think that
she's the second greatest female heel in the history of that company. And I mean that.
Who do you got as number one?
Vicky Guerrero.
Ooh, yeah. I don't think anyone got heat like Vicky.
Agreed. Vicky's not just the greatest female heel in history. She's one of the greatest heels in history.
Yeah, Vicky got heat. It's tough to get that kind of heat in 2020s, man.
Yeah.
2010s, yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying before I said that, though?
I think that Stephanie is going to do a great job. I think
100%.
people...
I don't think there's anybody better suited for this position. I know that, everybody thought 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that Shane was the golden boy. I don't think Shane wanted it as bad as Stephanie did.
No, and I don't think Shane has the vision as good as
No.
Stephanie does.
I think Stephanie...
Shane wants to put himself over too much.
Ways.
Shane wants to put himself over too much. And not that
100%.
Stephanie doesn't put herself over a lot too, but I think it's just different.
I think she cares more about the staff and the talent, though, and I believe the same thing about Triple H. Did you hear about the speech Triple H gave tonight before Raw?
That open door policy wants to get communication going.
Saying, listen, I want to promise that transparency you never got with Vince. Like, that's a good way to start.
Yeah, now he's got to hold up to it.
Is he full of shit? Who knows?
I'm skeptical of Triple H too. I know he's got that ego. He's got that ego. He's got that little bit of Vince in him.
You and I talked about
he's a grudge holder
months ago, but I always said that I think Triple H could really do wonderful things for this company if allowed, and we're about to see. Time's going to tell.
I'm excited for it. All right.
So, like I said,
the things I'm excited about.
The things I want to see under this regime. I'd like to see a revival of the tag team division.
You're talking the choir on that one, buddy.
I'd like to see Prestige brought back to the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, Walter, I think is the guy to do it.
And as a man,
Gunner, what's his name? Gunther,
yeah. And as a man who once was a workhorse champion in Triple H, I think he would spearhead that.
I mean, it's on the pay-per-view, right? That's the first time the IC title's been on a pay-per-view in almost 2 years this month.
Exactly. So. I want to see less rematches.
Oh, please.
I know I'm talking to choir on that one as well. And then as far as commentary and promos.
More Pat McAfee.
Commentary, more Pat McAfee. Promos. I think it's time to do away with the age of the scripted promo.
At least not as heavily scripted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then the last thing I want to see done away with, Vince has been doing this for 20 years, and I think it's time to start whittling down on it. Let's get rid of that banned word list.
Oh, yeah. Belts, and it changes every week.
I know. Like, let's hear the word professional wrestling on television. Yeah. Let's hear belts and titles, and I who gives a fuck? Stop. Vince McMahon famously said in 1997, 1998, came on TV and said, "We're done." What do you say in that promo? We're
age
done.
Of good guys versus bad guys. No,
what do you say?
We don't want to insult your intelligence.
Insult your intelligence. Thank you. We don't want to insult your intelligence. Well, guess what? Every time you ban a fucking word that you don't want us to hear, you're insulting our fucking intelligence.
I'm done with that. I'm back and forth on that because I like the idea that Vince wants to brand himself like instead of wrestling, he wants it to be superstars. Like I'm fine with stuff like that because it's like when you say when you want pop, I want a Coke. You know what I mean? When you want you know what I mean? Like
I never thought of it like that.
That's what he's going for, right? When you think of mixed martial arts, I want UFC. When you think of wrestling, did you watch WWE? Like I think that's kind of what he's going with stuff like that.
Yeah.
The WWE universe. That's the big one, right?
Yeah. Well, that it has no problem with stuff like that. But when you stop using words like championship and I don't know, it's just don't talk about the wrestling holds. You know what I mean?
I'd like to see the commentators be commentators again.
Agreed. Anyways, before we get to the list, what was the last thing you wanted to say?
That's it. I got nothing.
Beauty, because we've been talking way too long. And
shit, let's get to the list. We're rambling, motherfuckers.
Let's list this shit.
Let's blow through this bad boy.
We are doing the top 7 storylines in the history of SummerSlam. I'm gonna get so much heat for this.
I want you to know that I've really done my homework this week, and I'm going to be grilling you. Okay.
You're so full of shit. Listen, you're already gonna be mad at me because there's no real old school shit on this because I can only put the shit that I really remember.
And I can't remember any of the new school stuff, so we're fucked here.
And the storylines that I remember is the shit that I watched on television every single week. So I'm not gonna have storylines from 87, 88 because I don't remember what the storylines were.
I hate your list already.
I just remember the matches.
I hate it.
You know. So, anyways, let's go for this. My number 7, starting off heavy, man. We're going to 2009. We're doing CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy.
Okay, yeah. This is a great build. I'm straight edge. You're a piece of shit. Yeah. Great promos leading up to this. Punk made his heel turn.
It's the promos. It's the heel turn and the promos that really made this for me. It's the I love that the promos weren't all against Jeff himself. It was against the fans. And I love that. It was I get it. I know why you like him because you're not strong like me. You need a straight edge champion. You need me. You just don't know it yet because you're too weak. Yeah. I love that shit. I love it.
This started with Punk cashing in his Money in the Bank on Jeff Hardy after he won the world title. Yeah, this was really like the first time I think that CM Punk was allowed to be CM Punk in the WWE. And I thought he had a home run here. This was Jeff Hardy's swan song, if you will, to play on words a little bit there. He was leaving the company. And he put Punk over like $1 million on the way out.
100%. That I don't remember if it was the go home or the week before they go home. There's a great spot that I remember that where CM Punk put the chair on Jeff's neck, and Jeff really sold that. That was great. Great stuff. My number 6. We're going to a feud that you love. I know you love this feud. To a year that I think you really love. We're going to 2006.
Okay.
And we're going Cena and Edge at SummerSlam 2006.
This yeah, okay. I actually
because I'm gonna go back because I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna say this program started at New Year's resolution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This program really started when Edge came out and cashed in his Money in the Bank way back in January. Because if you really break it down, Edge and Cena, they ran their feud for pretty much the majority of 2006.
Yeah, they
that
had
whole
the match
year
at the
was
Rumble, and then they kind of took a couple months off, and then they met back up at SummerSlam and finished up at Unforgiven, the greatest pay-per-view in the history of Canada.
I love this pay-per-view because of how, I love the storyline because of how up and down it went with like they would go in and out of feuding with each other, and then right before SummerSlam it culminated with with Edge just making it so personal in attacking John Cena's father in his own home, which was just the icing on the cake of this.
They had the storyline, I believe, going into this where if Edge got disqualified, he would lose the belt.
Yes, that was the stipulation.
Very small fact that I don't know if a lot of people picked up on this. With this feud and the blow up being the next month, the SummerSlam match was in Boston, John Cena's hometown, and Unforgiven was in Toronto, Edge's hometown. And both guys lost in their hometown, which I kind of really like that.
Which I loved. I think that was really part of the story in itself. I was there the night after Unforgiven in Montreal, which is one of my favorite promos I just ever cut. And it was 2008. You're allowed to say stuff on TV you can't say now, so please forgive me for saying this. Don't cancel me. But Edge comes out and says, I think you all would love for me to get my rematch right here in my home country of Canada. And the place erupted. He's like, and he says, too bad we're not in Canada. We're in Canada's retarded cousin, Montreal.
Yeah, different times for sure.
You want to turn a crowd? Because the crowd was booing Cena all night. As soon as that happened, man, They were hot for Cena. They was a Cena crowd for the rest of the night. It was amazing. Edge knows how to play people, right? I loved it.
Yeah, Edge is fantastic. Definitely one of the greatest heels of all time.
And one of my favorite feuds of all time. Edge,
Great feud. Very, very underrated feud.
I think Edge and Cena is probably my second favorite Cena feud.
But you know what? Let's go back in time too. This feud actually is reignited again at ECW One Night Stand when Edge cost Cena the belt with RVD.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, their feuds, like if you culminate all their feuds together, it's one of my favorite feuds in history. Moving on to my number 5, we're gonna stick with the rated R superstar.
Okay, I'm hoping this is the one I think it's gonna be.
We're gonna go to 2008 with The Undertaker.
It's not the one I thought it was gonna be, but still a damn good one.
Ooh, I guess you and I are gonna fight because I don't have any more Edge on my list.
No.
But this is a great feud. It's not even a feud because Undertaker had nothing to do with it. It's a great program because Edge held the entire fucking thing.
Well, this was months that these guys went. They went months and months.
So it really starts because they were feuding before. And then what was it? Edge beat Taker, was it at One Night Stand?
Yeah, something like that. The TLC match, right?
Yeah, the TLC match at One Night Stand. And the stipulation was that if Taker lost, that he left the WWE. And then over the next few months, we found out that Edge was banging some hot chick in the back. Of course, he's supposed to be married to Vicky Guerrero. Vicky finds out that Edge is unfaithful. Like anybody didn't know that Edge wasn't unfaithful.
Kind of his gimmick.
Yeah. So Beth Phoenix, pay attention. Vicky, Vicky, her exact words, hell have no fury like a woman scorned. And she tells him straight to his face, I did something you're not going to like. I reinstated The Undertaker. And at SummerSlam, you're going one-on-one in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, and these guys really went back to Mania, dude, too, right?
Before I move on with the story, one of my favorite Hell in a Cell matches ever.
Yeah, it's very good.
Okay. That gets to SummerSlam. But before we get to that Hell in a Cell match, Edge is not a stupid person. Edge is not dumb. Edge knows that he's not ready to get in Hell in a Cell. He's not ready to face the Phenom in Hell in a Cell. He needs to prepare. He needs help. So he looks for help with the only person that really tested the Undertaker.
I forgot about this.
Cage. This is my favorite part of the story. And he goes to Mick Foley.
I forgot about this.
Not only, and this is a great part of the story, because not only is Mick Foley one of Undertaker's greatest opponents, not only is Mick Foley famous for being in one of the most famous Hell in a Cell matches in history, if not the most famous Hell in a Cell match in history with The Undertaker, but there's a history between Edge and Foley already.
Absolutely.
It's a great all-around package here. He says, Mick, I need your help. Mick, I know you don't like me, but you're the only person that can help me prepare for this. And Mick says, not only will I not help you, I can't help you. The only person that can help you is you. You need to find that edge that makes you Edge. You need to be that sick fuck that I fought at WrestleMania. You need to get back to that. And Edge looks at him and says, you're absolutely right. Thank you. And then he beat the shit out of Mick Foley.
Yeah.
That made that story for me. That's what made that story. When I saw that, it's like, okay, now he can go into WrestleMania, or now he can go into SummerSlam, and you can believe he might beat The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. I mean, this is very similar to the Cena feud where it went on pretty much for the whole year. I like how both guys, instead of being hometowns this time, it was both guys had their specialty match against each other. Edge with the TLC and Undertaker with the Hell in a Cell. And man, I think you summed this up perfectly. I don't even have anything to add to it. Great build.
Anybody who hasn't seen that promo with Mick Foley and Edge, I believe it's a Raw promo. Because couldn't give you the date. It's somewhere in July. Go check it out. It's one of Mick Foley. It's one of my favorite Mick Foley promos, to be perfectly honest. Especially one of my favorite like post-career promos. All right, we're hitting the number 4, baby. And I'm gonna oversell this bastard because I'm doing Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan.
Come on, number 4.
Number 4. I love this storyline so much, so fucking much.
It's good, but
I might be biased because I was there at Raw for part of the build.
Yes,
one of the best parts of the build. So maybe I'm biased because I got to witness it firsthand. But man, it's such a good fucking story. Number 1, we hadn't seen, this is 2005. We haven't seen heel Shawn Michaels since 1998. I guess that's not totally correct. We saw him do that stupid NWO shit and whatever, but we haven't seen heel wrestler Shawn Michaels since 1998. This is Shawn's only heel run of his second career. Like, people don't realize that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He only had one short heel run in his entire second part of his career. And it was fucking phenomenal. Because as much as I know you don't like 1997 Shawn Michaels, this felt like 1997 Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, but less annoying. It's a more seasoned Shawn, like 1990. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So let anybody who hasn't seen this for some reason, let's start at the beginning. We're at a Raw sometime in July, and it's Hogan and Shawn Michaels, and they're tagging up against I want to say it was Carlito and Kurt Angle. And of course they get the win. They do the whole, Hogan must pose. And Shawn's doing the posing with him, doing the whole thing. And out of fucking nowhere, he just super kicks the shit out of Hulk Hogan's face.
And it was out of nowhere because these guys have been teaming for the whole year, right? They teamed up at Backlash. You had the 6-man with Cena, and then this one as well. So this is like their 4th or 5th tag match together.
Yeah,
this was par for the course.
And then it just happened. It just out of nowhere. Hogan turns around and takes it in the chin.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts about this, though, isn't the kick itself. It's there. Thank you. It's the stare. It's the sell by Shawn. It's not even Hogan's sell. Hogan was all right. Hogan laid there, but it's Shawn's sell. Shawn stood over him. Just the way that he looked at him. We've seen people do these kind of like nonchalant or soulless stares before, but Shawn did it so differently in this one. And it hit harder because from 2002 until 2005, we've only had Christian, God-loving, fun-loving, awesome baby face Shawn Michaels. We haven't seen this. And this heel Shawn Michaels is not the heel Shawn Michaels that we had in 1992. This is not the heel Shawn Michaels that we had in 1997. This is a whole different heel Shawn Michaels we've never seen before. It was fucking beautiful. It was amazing. It's one of my favorite things Shawn Michaels has ever done. Which is that
great Larry King segment too.
The Larry King segment. Of course, we can't not talk about the night I was there in Montreal when he did the Bret Hart tease.
Yeah.
The
only thing that I will say that takes away from this build for me and why I might not put it on the list is that
it's the build, not the match.
No, and I love the match too. Everyone shits on the match. I love it. I take it for what it was. By the end of this build, though, I didn't want to see Shawn and Hogan. I wanted to see Shawn and Bret. Like they really were hyping Bret up for a couple weeks. There was jabs at him. Like it was almost like they were building to Bret Hart returning at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but Bret hadn't come back yet.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That was my only gripe with this program. That might knock it off the list for me.
It's so funny you say that because you're talking about getting one thing and wanting Shawn and Bret, because my number 3 is Taker versus Bret in 1997, when people just wanted Shawn and Bret.
Fair. And they were supposed to get Shawn and Bret at King of the Ring that year.
Of course they were.
I mean, you and I could just talk about, and I know you're on a big 97 kick right
I'm on
now.
a massive 97 kick right now. I'm going to tell you something. I did a bunch of research on stuff like Bleacher Report, What Culture, stuff like that, looking at everybody else's lists of the best SummerSlams of all time. 2 of my top 5 SummerSlams are in the bottom 5 of everybody else's.
Oh, yeah?
97 is fucking low. Do you know what is dead last on Bleacher Report and a couple others?
What?
That would be in my like top 10 at least.
Which one?
1990.
1990 is not a great pay-per-view, but
that's been marked as the
do-
worst SummerSlam ever. And I
don't think it's the worst SummerSlam ever. Like, I wouldn't put it in my top 10, I don't think, but I have a soft spot for it. I have like a guilty pleasure spot for that one.
I love it. I absolutely love that pay-per-view. And 1997 is my personal favorite SummerSlam. Do I think it's the best SummerSlam? No, we'll get there. But I do think it's my personal favorite. 97 is my personal favorite year in professional wrestling.
I can't remember what year.
I'm going to tell you the reason. The number one reason 97 is my favorite year in professional wrestling. 2 words for you.
Hart.
Oh,
sorry. I got it.
I never considered myself a Bret Hart fan, ever. In the beginning of the 90s, I was no one Hart guy. At the end of the 90s, I was a Steve Austin guy. I was never a Bret Hart guy. And then by the time, everything was over, Bret Hart was this bitter old man. And I'm like, fuck Bret. But over the last few years, especially since we've been doing this show and I've been researching things, 90% of my favorite SummerSlam matches have Bret Hart in it. 97% of my favorite WrestleMania matches have Bret Hart in them. Then I find out my favorite year in professional wrestling is 1997. And what's the best storyline in 1997? The Hart Foundation.
I was trying to think of a funnier.
If you talk about fucking what's his name?
I was gonna say faction warfare. Los Boricuas.
I thought you were gonna go for what's the Yamaguchi-san?
That was 98.
It started in 97, and I know that because I was watching a 90. I'm
gonna tell you wrong here.
Okay.
Choppy. Since you're wrong, I get to choppy your pee.
Choppy my pee.
Mr. Yamaguchi-san, love it.
All right, let's talk about this Mania build, or this SummerSlam build. So let's go back. Obviously, Undertaker wins the title at WrestleMania. Right before that, Shawn lost his smile. Bret Hart's feuding with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Bret Hart turns heel, of course, gets back together with his family, starts the what's it called, the Hart Foundation. Best
You're my brother
in the fucking world.
I love you.
Yeah. Love that shit.
Great line. And then Lawler crying the rest of the night. The best.
Yeah, right. Shawn comes back from finding a smile, tags up with Steve Austin for a bit, right? Am I getting my timeline right here?
Great tag team match. You want a great tag team match? Shawn and Austin against Bulldog and Owen in Texas.
Is that King of the Ring?
No, it was on Monday Night Raw. They fought each other at King of the Ring. Austin.
Okay, I'm mixed up my shit. So and then Shawn fucks off again. I can't keep track of Shawn.
No, he was back. He was back at that point.
Was he back? But he's feuding with Bret in a series of promos.
Yeah,
like they do the Sunny Days promo. They do, there's
that was later. That was a little bit later, I think.
There's a lot of shit going on. I thought so too, except it was when I was preparing for this, I was listening to Bruce Pritchard's show on SummerSlam 97. And apparently that promo already happened.
I thought that was later.
Me too. I thought it was in the DX times.
I mean, Pritchard could be wrong. We could be wrong.
Let's just say Pritchard's wrong.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Wrong to me,
stooge.
But they were taking shots at each other.
Yes. They had the backstage fight already by this point.
And then, of course, but Shawn's still a white meat baby face. He's teaming up with guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin and the brand new big time pushed Del Wilkes
Yeah.
They brought in Del Wilkes like a fucking firecracker.
Yeah.
Put him right beside Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin.
Perfect time to do
And
it, right?
100%. Well, yeah, too, and because they just lost Sid as well, right?
Yeah, but I mean, with the whole Bret Hart Canada thing, like bringing the Patriot, right?
Exactly. Around this time, going into SummerSlam, Bret Hart cuts one of my favorite promos of all fucking time, when he says, "If you want to give America an enema, you'd stick the hose right here in Pittsburgh."
Yeah,
which fucking love that.
Which is not true. I think maybe Buffalo or Cleveland, but Pittsburgh's kind of nice, actually.
I'm telling Buff you said
Don't say that. They have great professional wrestlers, but the town is leaves a little bit to the imagination.
And then, of course, it gets announced that Shawn Michaels is the special guest referee for the match, and Bret loses his shit on Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
and
great.
It's one of the very first times that we, as fans, learn that Vince McMahon isn't maybe just a commentator.
You know what? I think
Very
you're
cool.
talking. I didn't have this on my list originally, or I did, but it was high. You know what I mean? Like I was going back and forth on it, and I think you're talking me into.
I think you were high.
Yeah, you know, I sleep on this build a little bit because I don't think about it as like Bret versus Taker, but as the build as a whole, with
Because
the inner,
you have to put everything together.
Yeah, you're selling me. You're selling me on it.
If you put in Shawn, and it's really like, because this is still the Bret versus everybody shit. You know what I mean? It's Bret versus the world, except for Canada, because we love them.
Yeah, you're selling me on it. I like it.
All right, we're in the top two, baby.
I'm interested because I've got a couple that I think either you might have forgot about, or maybe we're just going to see differently on. But
I probably forgot a few, and you might skew my list a little bit, but you're not going to skew my 2 and 1. I think my 2 and 1 are set. I think you're going to disagree with them, but these are my personal favorite ones. So
I can't disagree with your personal favorites.
You know what I mean?
I can just tell you you're crazy. That's all I can do.
My number 2. We're going back to 2002 to quite possibly the greatest SummerSlam in history.
It was you, Hunter.
Thank you.
It was you all along. You're damn right it was me. It's like, why are we watching A Few Good Men here? You can't handle the truth. I love this film. This is great. I would have maybe had this as my number 1 in all honesty.
It went back and forth. Maybe you won't agree with my number 1, but let's stick.
I've got a couple that I've got my 1 and 2 I could flip flop on as well.
Let's start with this. Of course, we're talking about Shawn Michaels getting ready for his first match back since 1998.
The beginning
and we're in
of
2002. March of 98, and now we're in July or August of 2002. Shawn
Before
Michaels,
you start this rundown, can I just vent? Can I vent for a second?
Yeah.
Now I'm very grateful for all the wrestling events that I've attended in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say a but here. I went to WrestleMania 18 in Toronto, and I had a great time. Rock and Hogan, I wouldn't change it for the world. However, the next year was WrestleMania 19, which is one of the best WrestleManias of all time.
Uh-huh.
I went to SummerSlam 2003 in Toronto. Got to see Randy Orton become the youngest heavyweight champion at the time of all time. I wouldn't Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle. However,
What was the year before?
The next year was Hogan and Shawn, and the year before was Shawn's return.
No, Hogan and Shawn was 05.
Was it? Then maybe I saw SummerSlam 04. That's right, because 03 was Elimination Chamber.
Yeah,
I would have taken 04 over 03. Kurt and Brock Elimination. I don't know. Either way, I feel shocked.
Let's be honest. Your SummerSlam wasn't the greatest.
It wasn't the greatest, but the next year's was so good.
It was.
Fuck, man.
It's all Shawn Michaels' fault. Shawn did. I love this build so much. Now, number 1, let's not pretend. People like to pretend that we haven't seen Shawn Michaels since 1998. Bullshit. Shawn came in. He was the commissioner for a while. He was in the NWO. He did a bunch of shit. We have not gone 5 years without Shawn Michaels. We've gone 5 years without Shawn Michaels the way we know him in 2002, though, because when we knew him last, he was still stoned out of his fucking tree. A brand new Shawn Michaels emerges in 2002, and you already know there's something about him. You know what I mean? There's something different about this Shawn Michaels. And he comes out, they do this DX reunion, which is amazing in 2002.
Well, there was before that, though, because they were teasing trying to recruit Triple H to the NWO. And then Nash went down with the injury. So they changed the angle to, will Triple H be recruited to Raw or SmackDown? He was going to make his decision at Vengeance. And then Shawn was the guy who persuaded him to come to Raw. And then they did the DX reformation.
Well, then they did it's like, I'm bringing in my best friend. And, Shawn comes out. Then they do the DX thing. And then Triple H just beats the fuck out of him.
Laid him out with the pedigree. It was great, though. Can I just jump in for a sec?
Yeah.
They teased it throughout the whole Raw. Shawn, I think it was Shawn going, hey, I got an idea. Or maybe it was Hunter. I can't remember. I got an idea. And he threw him a bag. And he looked in the bag and goes, no. And then that was all you saw. And then about an hour later in the show, all you hear is, are you ready? And we hadn't heard.
And Hunter
that
was
music.
a heel at the time, right?
He was face. He was a face.
Was he face?
Point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a face at this point. But we hadn't heard the DX music in a long time.
A long time.
And they came out, they did the whole DX intro, and Hunter did his stuff. Are you ready? No, I said, and the place was losing his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hunter did the greatest turn. This is one of my favorite heel turns of all time. Let's get ready to suck it. Boom, pedigree. See you later.
Yeah,
it was so good.
And then the next few weeks, we see some of my favorite personal Triple H promos that he's ever done. Stuff like when he came out and he said, Shawn Michaels was never my best friend. I used Shawn to get to the top.
Yeah.
Just like Shawn used me to stay at the top.
Yeah.
Beautiful stuff.
Great stuff. And he put his face through a window.
And then
the
they have the whole
person.
And then the whole thing that Shawn gets his face put through a car window. Of course, and then they're teasing maybe Triple H isn't that bad after all because he looks concerned. Then, of course, they find out, Triple H did it all along. And then Triple H is still a bad guy. It's kind of weird like that, but whatever. It was worth it for the promo that you alluded to earlier. It was you, Hunter.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you watch the video package leading up to this?
Holy shit. I'm so happy
This is better than My Way.
My next note is what a video package.
Did you have the song, the fight song?
And then I don't know the name of the song. I love this song, but I don't know what it is.
I'm going to say something to you because I'm actually really mad at you right now. I have told you about this song and I played it on this show at least 4 times. All the time I know you. I don't know that song. I think you're just full of shit.
I still don't know that song. I heard the song on that fight
till there's nothing.
It's great.
It's the best. It's my
Can
way.
I
level.
ask you a question though?
Yeah.
While doing my fucking due diligence here, how was it they were able to put out one of the greatest video packages of all time for this fucking feud? Then go back, and if you haven't seen it in a while, I urge you to go back. Watch the video package for Rock and Brock from the same pay-per-view.
That's terrible.
It is horrible. They used the music from the fucking Don't Try This at Home commercials. Like, what the fuck was that? So bad. Another great part to this feud was Bischoff's promo of I'm not gonna sanction this match.
Yeah.
It lent a lot to it because at this point in time, Shawn just didn't know. Like, as far as Shawn was concerned, this was a one-off. Shawn didn't think he was coming back full-time. Shawn just wanted to come, have some fun, do something with his best friend, and then call it quits. So having this be a non-sanctioned match where Shawn can come out in jeans and just do his thing made a lot of fucking sense. And to have Bischoff, because Bischoff in my estimation, is one of the greatest authority figure characters in the history of WWE.
I agree.
Having Bischoff tell Triple H, I'm like, no way, I'm not sanctioning that. No, I'm not doing it. He's not in good shape. I'm not doing it. I'm not sanctioning this match. And Triple H saying it's gonna happen. I love it. It's there's if you haven't seen this build, if you haven't seen this match for some stupid reason, go back and watch it all, because it's a great story. Not just my favorite SummerSlam build, it's one of my favorite builds from that, like from 2000 to 2010.
Yeah, and it's the best SummerSlam. I think my top two favorite SummerSlams. I know you said you liked 90 and 97. I love 2002 and I love 2013.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Those are my go-to. But the reason why 2002 is so good is because Shawn and Hunter, like, it pushed it to another level.
That 2013 was I alluded to earlier, Bleacher Report and everybody doing their lists. 2013 was number 2 on the majority of those lists.
Yeah, and that, for me, it was too, man.
And for me, it's 1997.
I respect it. 97 is a great year. All right, give me your number 1. I think I know what it is.
Do you think so, though?
I
think I'm going to blow your mind here.
I think I know what it is. I think it might be my number 2.
Give me the year.
94.
Wrong.
Whoa.
Wrong. No, I we'll talk about that in the honorable mentions, why it's not on my list. Okay. I'm going to 2010 for my number 1. And we are doing the WWE versus the Nexus.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad I didn't think you were going to put this on your list, and I was really going to give you shit about it.
I fucking love every part of this. I
don't have a problem with this being your number 1 at all.
Let's break this down.
I don't.
Right? Let's break this down. It starts with that amazing night on Raw where the Nexus comes out and just fucks shit up.
Yeah, that's one of the best angles in WWE history.
It's everything that the R word was supposed to be and couldn't be. You know what I mean? They come out, they fuck shit up. They destroy Cena. They tear down the ring. They just destroy everything. And it's so well done.
Absolutely. And thank you for not saying the word.
I love how I would say the other R word, but not that R word. Anyways, moving on to the actual build of SummerSlam. Cena decides there's 7 guys in this Nexus group. He's going to need 6 people to help him to do 7-on-7 at SummerSlam. So he creates a team. And of course, the original team is Chris Jericho, Edge, R-Truth, John Morrison, the Great Khali, and I can't believe they did this, but it was amazing. And they brought in Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah, well, because Nexus took out Bret, right? Bret was the GM at the time, and they laid him out. Yeah. And they laid out Steamboat, and they laid out Vince. Like,
yeah, and I forgot they laid out Vince. That was great. So they brought in Bret for this match, and then of course things start to crack within the WWE team. And Wade Barrett brings attention to it right away. He says, "We're a unit. We're a family."
Did they lay Khali out before this match? He wasn't in the match, right?
No, I'm gonna get there. Wade Barrett says there's already cracks in the foundation of WWE. We're seeing it, and we're seeing it every week. Edge and Cena were at each other, or Morrison and Jericho were at each other. It was every week you were seeing it. Then it starts with Edge quitting. Edge said, "Fuck this, I'm out." And he quit. Then Jericho quit. Then the Nexus took out Khali and hurt him and got rid of him. That happened to Khali a lot back in the day. Weird how that works.
The Nathan Jones flu.
Right? And then on the go home, you have Cena and Bret versus Jericho and Edge, who quit the team, in a tag team match with the Nexus as lumberjacks. Great tag team match, by the way. It's a fucking fun match. I watched it this afternoon. It's a fucking great match. I love it because every time Cena gets thrown out, the Nexus beats the shit out of him. Jericho gets thrown out, and they They don't touch him. And then later in the match, Jericho gets thrown out again, and the Nexus says, fuck it. And then they beat the shit out of him. And then they beat the shit out of Edge. And then the match ends, and Edge and Morrison and Truth come out to help out, of course. So you got the 4 members of the team remaining in the ring. And then Edge and Jericho are walking up, and they look at each other and say, you know what? Fuck it. And they go back and they help out, and they rejoin the team. So now we go into SummerSlam, and it is 6-on-7. Khali can't make it, so they need that 7th man. And whose music hits?
Well, hold on though. You're missing something though. They've been asking the Miz to join the team.
Well, yes, they've been asking the Miz,
and Miz was being a cocky prick. Oh,
yes.
let you know. And then finally, when the match happens, and then Cena cut a great promo. It's like, you're too late.
That music hits. Miz comes out, and John grabs the mic and says, "Whoa!" It's like, Miz. It's like, we need to be a unit. We need to be a team. We couldn't wait for you. Like we're not letting you. We're not letting you. Wait until the day up to tell us. So we already picked our 7th man, and you know what? He's better than you. And that man is the only man who hates the Nexus more than I do, and that's Daniel Bryan. And holy shit, did that crowd explode! And
they booked him strong in that match.
100%. Yeah.
My favorite part of that match is Bret Hart and Heath Slater together. I thought they were great.
Me too. I'm being an Impact fan right now. I'm very high on Heath at the moment.
Great stuff. He does. Yeah. I gotta tell you, I don't hate your list. I had a couple that I might have put on my list.
Before you get on the rest of your honorable mentions, I gotta ask, which Edge match did I miss?
Edge and Matt Hardy.
Okay, that's an honorable mention for me. That's a miss for me, to be perfectly honest.
The match was a miss. The build was fucking great.
But the build was,
except for Matt's promo, that one promo,
that threw the
and that could have taken it off the list. And I get that, for sure. I'm not going to go over everything. Just some from the 80s you missed. I really like the build for the first ever main event with where they were paying off Jesse Ventura. Is he going to call it down the middle? Mega Bucks, Mega Powers.
Yeah.
I got a soft spot for 89, so I like Zeus. I liked Hogan and Earthquake, with Earthquake laying out Hogan on Brother Love. I thought that was a good build. I wouldn't put any of those on my list, though. You could say Brett and Bulldog maybe, but I thought the build was kind of boring.
I don't remember much about the build.
It was basically just the family. They would just interview the family, and Bulldog cut a promo. Basically, they both cut really good promos on SummerSlam night, where Bulldog was like, when we get in the ring, I don't know you, Brett. And then Brett cut this amazing promo. It's like, you want to say you don't know me? I'm the guy that introduced you to your wife, my sister. Like, they cut good promos, but it would be high on the list.
The promos were good. I didn't see much of a story.
I honestly would make a case to put Taker versus Taker on the list.
Was that the 94 that you thought I was going to put?
No, I thought Brett Owen was your 94.
Okay.
But I thought the build for Taker versus Taker was really good.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to give you this because I didn't even consider this, and which is crazy because this is one of my favorite. This is a guilty pleasure for me. Like, I love this
but the build was good, DiBiase with the fake Undertaker. It was 100%. Really well done. The match sucked and it was whatever, but
going all the way back to Royal Rumble, like the whole story was phenomenal.
and bringing it, linking with DiBiase being the guy who brought Taker in. Like, there was good storytelling there. You could make a case for the Boiler Room Brawl, just the series of matches with Taker and Mankind, but I wouldn't make it on the list.
No.
I like Mankind and Triple H's build again, not list worthy.
Again, it's an honorable mention.
Yeah, it was not list worthy.
Yeah,
I think you could have made a case for Triple H and The Rock, the ladder match, just because that summer the DX Nation feud was really hot.
If I did the IC title matches, that was going to be high on the list. As far as storylines, it just wasn't going to cut the mustard.
I think I would have put Punk and Cena on my list with the summer of Punk.
If we're going Cena, do you know what Cena match storyline just missed mine?
Daniel Bryan?
No.
I really like that build as well.
last year with Roman Reigns.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is a deep cut, and I don't think people give it the credit it deserves. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose versus The Bar, with the reuniting of the Shield, how every week they would come out and save each other and say fuck off, and it led to that moment where they finally did the fist. I really like that build. It really hooked me. I thought it was good.
Yeah, no, that it was very enjoyable. I don't think it's top 7 for me personally.
I would have had it. I think I would have stuck it in my number 7. Guilty pleasure though, but I just really enjoyed the build. Seth versus Ambrose with the turning of the Shield. They did a lumberjack match. Miz and Bryan have a big history.
Yeah.
And again, I wouldn't make the list, but I thought the storytelling was really good. Seth Rollins versus Dominic.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I thought the build was good, but I can't disagree with your list overall. Bret and Lawler, maybe.
So I'm going to justify why Bret and Owens not on my list. I feel like that build, that storyline is basically just the tail end of their WrestleMania story.
Yeah.
There's nothing they did in that between March and August. They didn't do anything that stands out that we didn't get in the original storyline from Survivor Series to WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Is it a continuation of a great story? 100%. But by itself, it's not special.
Yeah, fair.
You know what I mean? And that's why it didn't make my list.
I'm with you, man. I liked your list this week. I enjoyed reliving some of these moments. We've been rambling on way too long tonight.
We have.
Next week, Seth Rollins versus Bret Hart.
I have to open tomorrow.
I have to be up at 8 in the morning. It is 2:40 in the morning.
7. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time to take it home then. Next week, Bret Hart versus Seth Rollins. I can't wait for it. Take us home, my friend.
On behalf of everything we did in the last 4.5 hours, I don't know how long we went, but it felt like 4.5 hours.
It's been a while. Therapy. We needed this.
I am happy. I shouldn't be drunk. I am happy to be back. I'm happy to be drunk. I am not happy to be working in 6 hours. We've been counted out, baby.
Cheers.